Hey, my name is Sarah. Welcome back to another episode of Talking Fast. Alongside me, just like every single week, is my brand and content manager, Jacob. We need to continue to make this very clear because I get a lot of emails of people saying they listen to my podcast and they think I make great content and they ask if I need representation. And that'd be real awkward.
It's too weak. Also, you're making yourself look stupid.
Because you say you listen. The best is when they specifically shout out the podcast.
I almost have a copy and paste of this at this time. When I'm just like...
Yeah, what you say.
Yeah.
Sarah already has representation, but if you have any future brand collaborations, we'd love to work with you.
The emails.
I do. With that though, manager Jacob, what are you eating or drinking this week?
I've been eating some messy bowls. I'm in an avocado era right now. We're talking some kind of protein.
Is it avocado season?
No.
Okay.
We're talking some kind of protein. We're talking some rice.
Yeah.
Although, you know what I did the other day? And this is so stupid. I went and bought rice.
Got it.
I love to get a huge thing of rice, basmati rice.
Got it.
I was like, oh, that one's a good price. Never had that one. Let me grab that one. I grab it. I got it home. I make this rice. It's like pre-spiced rice.
Oh, I hate that.
And now I have like 10
massive bag
kilograms of this shit. And it doesn't taste bad, but it just doesn't taste great.
I bet you if you put that on Facebook Marketplace, someone would take it off your hands.
An opened bag of spiced rice.
I feel like there's been weirder things on Facebook Marketplace.
You know what? Maybe I'll try. Maybe I'll try. Although then it kind of goes against what I was going to say is messy bowls. I'm making some like rice bowls. I've been enjoying them because you know what?
A bowl is easy.
A bowl is very easy and it tastes good. I'm trying to get back into the sauce situation.
Oh, I like that.
And bowls are doing
it. What's crazy is a bowl is so cheap to make at home, but they charge so much in like the path.
This is the thing.
Like
it's
if you go to Mad Radish and you get a bowl, it's like pay with your arm because it's so expensive.
And you know what they do? You know what they do? They put on like pickled onions, red onions, and oh really?
Yeah, I hate pickled things.
My follow-up question to that bit of information I was going to give you is that it's so easy to make them at home, but you're not going to care.
Why am I not going to care?
You don't like them. You're not going to make them.
Oh, pickled red onions.
Yeah. What about you? What are you eating and drinking this week?
Okay, so I made like an ins and outs list for the year, like for 2025. And on my
doing it in March. It's a classic.
No, I did it back in, smart ass. I did it back in January, clearly up with my content. Maybe I do need a new manager.
I rescind my chirp.
So I did an ins and outs list, and on the outs list I put Diet Coke. It was a very controversial take. People were very mad at me. They're like, why? It has no calories, all this stuff. I go, it was less about like a health reason. I actually never felt amazing after I drank a Diet Coke. It kind of just like sits in my stomach. And two, when I used to work in a 9-to-5 corporate job, I would buy a Diet Coke at lunch every single day, which was marked up to like $3 a can, which was stupid. And I would only ever drink half of it. Then I would leave it at my desk and I'd have like a graveyard of like 15 Diet Cokes. So I was like, I'm just cutting Diet Cokes completely. I didn't want to start buying cases. I didn't want to do anything. We've told this story before. We talked about how Jacob came over and I also have a
Costco membership. So it's like, it's easy to buy Diet Coke.
I know, but I just don't want to. Okay, I don't bring it into my home.
I came over, you didn't have any.
Jacob came over, I didn't have any Diet Coke. Anyways, I had my first Diet Coke of 2025 at the Cliffs of Moher in Ireland, which I feel like it's like, if I'm going to have my first Diet Coke, it's not a bad spot. It was because I like...
Where did you get it?
They have like a gift shop. Like built into the side of the hill though. It's actually kind of cool. It kind of looks like where the hobbits live.
A little leprechaun is in there.
Yeah. Where the hobbits live in Lord of the Rings.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
So anyways, I bought a Diet Coke because I was going to buy a Sprite. And then
can or bottle?
It was a bottle. And my friend Kate was like, why don't you just get a Diet Coke? Like, how is that any better for you than drinking a Sprite? And I was like, do you want to what? You're right. And if I am going to have one Diet Coke this year, it will be in this beautiful setting in Ireland. And so I had and she took a video of me. And it's so funny. Like I literally take a sip and you can see me just go, it was like a drug. I was like an addict getting back, but I haven't had it since.
That's like a travel cigarette for me.
That's a good take. Yeah. It was like a travel cigarette.
Yeah.
A cheeky travel dart where it doesn't count because you're not at home.
I don't even like cigarettes.
I don't either, but I love the idea of it.
Me too.
And then like you look so cool.
I was in Paris, right?
You have to smoke a cigarette in Paris.
Except, you know what? I got carried away. We were at dinner.
Did you buy a pack?
Haley and I were at dinner with another couple and then we met up and it was cool. It was like they were coming to somewhere in Europe. We were somewhere and then we met up and had dinner and they were hanging out. And I had purchased a pack of cigarettes.
You could see that's the thing is my rule is I can never purchase them. But if someone like has one and offers it to me,
okay,
then
well, this
I'll
was
have
the
one.
thing. I wasn't going to smoke them. And someone asked, they were like, oh, we should maybe get some cigarettes. And I was like,
whoa,
how cool was it to just pull out a pack of cigarettes? Listen, we can't be promoting smoking on this. It's not cool. Don't do it. It's actually not cool. Unless you're on a trip in Europe and then have one. But I passed.
It's not cool.
I was like, yeah, I got some cigarettes. You have a smoke.
It's like, it's not cool. It's
and then they smoke. And then we were walking back and they're like, could I have another one? And I was like, yeah, well, maybe I'll have one then too.
Yeah. Okay, but a cigarette's cooler than vaping.
Well, this was the thing. The end of the story is that I ended up having too many cigarettes and I felt very, very sick.
Yeah, you feel gross.
And my next day was ruined. And I thought that, you know what? This is not what you should be doing in life. So don't smoke.
Learned your lesson. Vapes or cigs. Anyways, I love how we went from
definitely
Diet
don't
Coke
do
to that
vapes. There's also nothing classy about a vape.
Oh my God, no, but like everyone in Ireland was just hitting a vape all the time. I'm like, you look like so dumb.
Ay. So Sarah, what are we watching or reading this week?
I've been going through all the Oscars movies. I know by the time this is out, the Oscars are done. We know who won. Yay. Congratulations to Dune Part 2 for winning everything at the Oscars. Don't know what though? My rating system on Letterboxd and on everything when I'm watching these movies is, did I like this movie more than Dune Part 2? Because it's my favorite movie I watched this year.
That's a good bar.
And nothing has even fucking come close or touched it. I just watched Conclave last night, which... Okay. Timely. Maybe by the time this comes out, the Pope, maybe they're going through it. Who knows?
R.I.P. Pope, maybe.
Or maybe he's fine. He's a really liberal Pope, so we actually want him to stay. But I learned all about the process of how did the Cardinals vote for a Pope. I'm like Googling shit like, can Cardinals watch movies?
Okay, actually,
can Cardinals watch TV?
Watching Conclave, I actually was like deep in Wikipedia the whole movie.
Did you? Okay, so you watched it at home.
Yeah.
Okay. My favorite take was I saw a Letterboxd review that said, this is just the Real Housewives of Vatican City. And I was like, this is the best because it's like,
especially having Stanley Tucci in there too.
100%. Yeah. Stanley Tucci being a little messy and they're all just gossiping.
Stanley Tucci almost ruined the movie for me.
Because it pulls you out of it.
I just can't take Stanley Tucci
I just picture
seriously.
him doing his cooking videos on TikTok.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you're imagining you see him in a scene in Conclave and then you zone out because you just imagine him going to his little room and he's like whipping up a hot plate something.
Exactly. It's just like, I can't fathom Stanley Tucci being the Pope. Like it just wasn't realistic.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought the movie was fine. Not better than Dune Part 2 though. What about you? What are you watching or reading this week?
Okay. White Lotus season 3.
I haven't watched it yet. Don't tell me any spoilers.
Ooh,
I'm going to wait unless Crave wants to give me a membership, I'm waiting until the whole season's out. Then I'm going to buy the one subscription to Crave. I was
actually having this
and
conversation
then I'm going to cancel
earlier today because we were saying like what I binged the first 2 seasons of White Lotus because I was behind. It was great in that way. Because it is such a slow burn that like you kind of need to go back to back. Otherwise it feels like you're just dragging it out. And now because I'm watching every week,
weekly,
it's like, okay, well, it feels like not a lot happened, but I know it's building to somewhere. And then there's all these different theories and it's just like, there's a lot of noise around it. I'm enjoying it. I like it, but I'll hold my tongue because I don't want to spoil anything for you.
Okay, good. What are you listening to?
Sarah, you're going to know half of this one. Lennon Stella.
I love Lennon Stella.
She hasn't
come out with an album in a really long time.
No, she hasn't, but she's making a little bit of a comeback.
Okay, good, because her last album was really good.
Yeah,
Golf on TV is one of my most played songs.
The whole album, that is like a start to finish, no skips album for sure.
And then her sister's like popped off because she was in
what was she in?
My Old Ass.
Right.
The movie with Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry, Lennon Stella.
She's
featured on a song with who? Someone I don't know.
I actually don't know in this moment if it was like a co-release or if it was one of the others featured on one of the other's tracks. But there's this artist called Slim Dan. It's a little guitar, a little singy guy. You're gonna like Slim Dan's music probably. He's also kind of like, he's got some cheeky lyrics in there. Just became a dad. He's very big on wordplay and stuff. He's great, but he released a song and I was like, this is such a strange collab because I like both of them separately. And then I saw them like come up on my Spotify, recommended to me. And I did a total double take. So I'm like, Slim Dan and Lennon Stella, this is random.
And you knew who this Slim Dan was before? Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they have a song called Undercover Cops. And I would say, go listen to it.
I love her.
I also have been fleshing out my playlist. So
Oshawa, Ontario's own Lennon Stella. Lennon and Maisie.
Oh, really?
Lennon and Maisie were discovered on a YouTube video of them singing, doing the cup song. And then they got cast on Nashville.
Crazy.
And that's how they became famous.
Right.
They played Raina, whatever's daughters on that show.
Clear Eyes, Full Hearts, Can't Lose.
Yes. Connie Britton. They played, right? Is that her name?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, they played her daughters.
Sarah, something you're listening to this week?
I am slowly de-thawing. No, it wouldn't be de-thawing. I'm just slowly thawing out my country music playlist.
Okay.
One of my daily mixes is just like straight country, and I've been listening to it a little bit more now, and I feel like I'm slowly, the second like the sun's out, I start to listen more country. And I was driving this weekend, that was like another case. And Russell Dickerson, he's like pop country, but he was teasing the song on TikTok for a long time, and I don't remember what it was called, but it was like talking about girls just wanna have fun at the top of her lungs. Anyways, it's like very like classic stick your head out the window.
I gotta listen to
but
this.
It's good. It's very like classic stick your head out the window, like top down type music, like summer driving music. It's gonna be one of the pop country songs of summer for sure. But then that just went me down a rabbit hole of like country music, and it was getting me all excited for summer. And there's a lot of really good summer country shows happening this year.
I was looking at this, speaking about Bud stage. We were talking about this earlier. I saw Dierks Bentley is going to Budweiser stage.
He's coming back. You haven't seen Dierks Bentley?
I love Dierks Bentley.
One of the most drunk I've been ever at a country concert was Dierks Bentley a couple of years ago.
Get this. I go to a lot of concerts. I've never been to a country show.
Can I go with you?
Should we go to Dierks Bentley?
I will, 100%.
Let's do it.
You need cowboy boots though, and like you need to buy in.
I can get some cowboy boots.
Or like at least like buy in, like wear a hat or something. Like full
I do
cowboy.
I think I would do boots over hat maybe. Because I would do like trucker hat.
Oh, you could do trucker hat. You can do trucker hat.
Boots.
That's a vibe.
Yeah.
I would go to Dierks Bentley. I would love that. And do you know what's cool is he does this thing at the end of his show where he does like his encore is with his band, but it's his like spoof band, and they all wear wigs and dress up, and then they play for like another hour, and they do covers, and they do like a whole hour of like cover music. It was like a fever dream. I was like, I did not know what was going on, but they played until almost midnight.
Did you see him at Budweiser stage?
Yeah, a couple years ago.
Hell yeah.
They played and then like Drunk on a Plane live. Unbelievable.
What am I? Somewhere on a beach.
Also a good one. Also a good one.
God,
wow, I can't believe you've never been to a country concert. You have to go. A country concert at Bud Stage is like a canon event. Like
I know. I always, I've ran past them several times. I see like people going in, like all decked out. I'm like a little jealous. So I gotta join the crew. Is there something you did?
Well, was this week? I guess this was last week. But since we've recorded, I went to Ireland.
Yeah, right.
For a week.
How was it?
It was great. My take is you should go to Ireland in February when it's cheap flights, cheap hotels, and it's going to be rainy and gloomy anyways. So why not go?
What was the temperature?
Like 8 or 9 degrees.
Okay.
So it's like still cool. You can still wear a jacket, but like also like the Ireland aesthetic is like cozy.
You want to wear a jacket.
Like, you want to be wearing a jacket and a little toque, and you want to like eat your chowder and your like beef stew, and like
I saw
and you don't want to have that in the summer.
Yeah, a few your maybe story posts, but also vlogs about it. I was jealous of the food you were eating.
We ate really well there.
Yeah.
We sourced recommendations from so many people and cross-referenced the ones that like were good. Like this, I had this meat pie at this place called Spitalfields. Unbelievable. It was like, and I had a bone marrow mashed potato. Like it was so
8
good.
degrees, a little rainy. You want to sit in a pub and have that kind
That's
of food.
the thing though, is like in the summer, like the type of food that you eat, it's the same as like Scotland. The type of food you're eating there, like you want to be eating like cozy comfort, like it's a little cool 100%. Outside, there's a breeze in the air, so why not go when it's less expensive and less touristy? Also Galway, go to Galway. It was so much fun. We kept calling it the Nashville of Ireland because it was like cobblestone walkways. You could just pop in and out of every bar, and every bar had live music, and it was so much fun.
Was there anything that was not worth it? You'd be like, don't do that.
I just wouldn't spend too many days in Dublin because like, sure. Or you could even do like, you could do a 4 or 5 day trip to Ireland. I only did Galway and Dublin. So it's like, I didn't go to Belfast. I didn't like go to Cork. I didn't like, you can obviously do more, but you can do it like really a long weekend. If anything, like you can, it's a really small, like Dublin's a really small city, and then it takes 2 hours on the train to get to Galway. Like you can do a trip for a long weekend.
Do you see any Galway girls?
I was a Galway girl. I went to the pub though where they filmed.
Did you listen to Ed Sheeran?
Yeah, obviously. And I went to the pub where they filmed that music video.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
O'Connell's. It's where they had Dobro's Pizza in the back. It was delicious. Anyways, what's something that you did?
I have a new thing I'm doing, and Sarah, I'm gonna do this tonight. I'm actually pretty excited about it.
Tonight.
You ever check your show? I know you don't watch that much TikTok. Like sometimes you do, but you don't. You don't have a high screen time.
It's gotten higher recently, but yes, I'm again. I don't watch a ton, but yes. What is it that is
my
happening?
favorite thing to do right now? I'm trying to get back into like my fitness situation.
Love that.
So I've been on, and it's so snowy outside. I've been doing too much running, but I've been doing a lot of Pelotons. Now. I haven't been doing full-on classes here and there, yes. But one thing I have been doing is like, I want to catch up on, I guess I got to watch some stuff. I got to watch my clients' videos. I got to watch this and that, I want to just scroll. Instead of doom scrolling, I'm still doom scrolling, but I'm doing it for 45 minutes.
That's
while
smart.
on the Peloton.
I should do that actually by doing in my apartment building, like they've got treadmills. I like to do like the
100%.
walking on an incline.
Do the walk on an incline.
And scroll.
Little scroll. Because you're going to be scrolling anyway. Why not
That's
just do
smart.
And it's like
It's a good take.
I do the easiest workout as well. It's not like I'm going hard or like for a super long time, but I'm like, why not?
Love that. I'm actually going to take one out of that book.
Yeah.
What's something that you're loving right now?
Fucking Roll Up the Rim is back, Sarah.
I got invited to a Roll Up the Rim event.
Oh,
to
can
celebrate.
you give me that
invite?
invite?
You could come with me.
I've been working the group chats heavy. When we're recording this, it started today. And listen, this isn't even a sponsored segment. But I love Roll Up the Rim on
like
cups.
the authentic one.
On cups. I had one today. Please play again. I was excited to see Please Play Again. It's actually Roll Up the Rim.
It started today?
Started today.
Oh, I definitely missed
You
that event.
got to go get a cup
then.
on the way home.
Maybe I will. Maybe I'll get a little cheeky hot chocolate. I love Tim Hortons hot chocolate.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Shout out.
Okay, that's a good love.
What about something you're loving?
I'm loving a weekend getaway. So I just got away this weekend, a little cabin in the woods, and it was amazing. And the reason I loved it is because like I feel like sometimes when you travel, it's a stressful experience. Like part of it, like you come back and you feel out of a routine, but like going just like 90 minutes outside the city to a little cabin that had like a hot tub and a sauna and all this stuff. I was so relaxed. I could just read my book. Like I didn't have a thought in my mind about like Sunday scaries or anything. And then I came home and I was home by 1 p.m. still on Sunday. Could still like get my groceries done, get my stuff done for the week. But I still like had a little getaway that was very relaxing. So I feel like I need to like mix in a weekend trip more.
Did you do anything or did you stay like
we just
like,
stayed up, but no, we just stayed there the
time?
whole time.
I love that.
Which is why it was great.
That's even tough even in the city sometimes. Your weekends are too full. And
Yeah.
Like,
it was great to turn my brain off.
That's a good one.
The truth is, whenever I go to an event and I see this next guest, she just oozes cool and I am very intimidated. I'm always in awe of her fits and aura, and I love her takes, her unpopular opinions, as some might say, on social media. Please welcome to her first podcast, Myah Elliott. Thank you for coming into Talking Fast.
I'm so excited. I've never been on a podcast before, and I feel like this is where I'm going to shine because I just like to talk.
I love that. That's like in the title for a reason, but also that's shocking to me because like you're so good at like takes that I'm shocked that no one's been like, ooh, like that's what podcasts are all about. People just want like the hot takes.
We're all about the hot takes.
Yeah, no, I love that. I wanted to do my own podcast, but I was like, it's too much work. Every time I want to talk, I just want to do it and like post it immediately. I don't have the patience to like sit with it because then I'm like, maybe I should have said this. Maybe I should have said that. But
that's true because then you end up like nitpicking every like little opinion. Yeah. I guess like kind of the beauty of the content you do is that like example, I think of like your post like Kendrick halftime show. You just like pick up your camera and you like rant to the camera. Then like that's like the best, most authentic feeling I feel like that people have. Would you say that's how you would describe your content?
Yeah, I just like to talk. Whatever comes out, post. Whatever. Sometimes I look back on it and I'm just like, I could have said this, but then I just kind of add comments. And I'm just like, oh yeah, I should have said this. I should have said that. But I just like being spontaneous with it.
Where did your love of like, because I feel like most of your hot takes come from like entertainment, like music, film. Where did your love of just like talking about those topics come from?
Well, I always just like to talk. Like I was that student in school where it's just like, okay, now your desk is going in the hallway because you're talking too much, you're laughing too much. It's too much. And just like, you're not going to be successful. You just talk. You need to listen. You have one mouth and two ears for a reason. And now here we are. You know,
you're like, well, now I literally get paid to talk.
Yeah.
So
I was that kid too. Do you ever get the feeling you want to go back and just be like, oh, look at me now?
Yeah. Like I still know where my elementary school is. Like I just want to go back and be like, I talked. And here I am.
and
I never understood why that's like a bad thing. I feel like young girls specifically would get it a lot if they were like chatty in class.
Yeah.
I just never understood why it was a bad thing. Like if anything, like don't you want to like you want adults that know how to have conversations. And when you're a kid, you're just raising little adults. So.
100%. Who cares about science, right?
Nah, I don't. Yeah. Are we using science right now?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Not us. Not us. You go to a ton of shows, like concerts. We want to do like a little quick like 2024 shows wrapped. Like what were some of like your peaks? I know you're a Billy girl, so like I'm sure that one was up there, but like what were maybe like your top 3 shows that you went to last year?
Ooh, that's a good question. Okay, number 1 for me, I flew to LA for Kendrick's pop-out show.
Oh wow.
And that was one of the best days of my life, just because he's one of my favorite artists of all time. And it was like, it felt so exclusive because it wasn't connected to a tour. It was just one show for LA, one night. No one knows the set list. No one knows who was going to get brought out. And it was so much fun. It just felt like an LA celebration. I was just like, dang, I kind of feel like an outsider here because I'm from Toronto, which is like Kendrick's #1 op list right now. But it was so much fun because everyone was so energetic and I was so happy with the performance. It just felt like a moment in history and I was so glad to be part of that. And Kendrick's such a great performer. I've seen him like 6 times.
That's so cool.
He was definitely #1 for me. Billy, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I went to both nights of Toronto and I loved the stage setup because it was kind of just one big square.
Yeah.
And there was so much space to like run around. So one night we were just running around the stage, screaming, yelling, having fun. And then one day we were just at the barricade, just like watching her. And she is so talented. And I was not a Billie fan at first. When her first album came out back in 2019. 2019. I wasn't a fan of that album.
Oh,
and I was like, whatever,
You're
it's
like,
not for me.
Yeah, it's like you can get the hype. You can all have it, but it's not for me. Oh,
yeah, I was like, it wasn't a thing where I was like, oh, she's like not talented or anything. I just like, it wasn't my style of music. And then she came out with Happier Than Ever in 2021, and I was like, you know what, I want to give her another chance. And I listened to that album, and it's to this day one of my favorite albums of all time. Like, me and Billie Eilish are the same age. And I feel like because that album was very much a coming of age, like talking about where she's at in her life, and I related to so much of that album, my obsession just started right there and then. So I loved that album. It was my most played album of that year. And then being able to see her, I saw her at Osheaga the following year, which was really great. Then being able to see her actual tour and doing what she does for like 2 hours was like so impressive
and
to me.
She hadn't toured in Toronto like because the other shows had gotten canceled, right? Because the pandemic, like she hadn't toured in Toronto in like years. So I feel like there was like a lot of build up too.
Exactly. And I was kind of happy because that tour for Toronto, the stop went on sale before the album came out. So obviously I wasn't thinking about tickets. And then by the time I had this love for this album, it was sold out. So then when it got canceled, I'm like, you know what? If I can't be there, none of you can.
I love that energy. You're like, well, she's waiting for me, actually. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay.
So we got Kendrick, we got Billie. Who's number 3 on kind of top show?
Honestly, it's so hard to keep track because I think I went to like 40 different concerts last year.
Wow.
But a standout for sure for me was Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh, interesting. Like, I had to admit, I was away. I had to miss that one. That one sucked to miss.
Yeah, no, seriously. And it took me, like, I wanted to get tickets so badly, and then Universal came through. I was just like, hey, you want tickets? I'm like, yes. Are you kidding me? And like her stage presence, the design of the whole stage, I was just in awe of everything. The outfits, the way she was singing, like, for the whole time, I feel like there was just stars in my eyes. I was like, wow.
Do you have a preferred way to take in a show? You said for Billie, we're at 2 nights, one running around, one kind of just at barricade. If you can only go to one night, but it's like one of your favorite artists, would you rather be at the front or would you rather be at the back to kind of take it all in?
I would say the front. If there is only one show, I will be at that barricade.
Front row or don't go.
Exactly. Like ever since I've been on the floor, like everything behind that is like, no, peasant. Like I don't want to be back there.
So I went to like I've seen Taylor Swift every single time that she's been in Toronto, and I went. It's so pretentious, but it's like my Eras tour in Toronto was my first time not being on. I was on the floor one of the nights, but I went twice, and the second time was my first time not being on the floor. And I was like, it's actually kind of nice because I get to see the stage from above. My friend's like, you're such an asshole. It's just because when you've only ever experienced, or if like you prioritize always being on the floor, always like being in my fangirl days barricade. I'm too old for barricade now, but like that used to be it. Like you just make it a priority. I feel like you're like a stand at the back and observe.
Well, you know what?
Guy.
It could be a mix though, and it can be like venue specific too. Because if I'm at like Budweiser stage, which is an outdoor amphitheater, like there is a lot of the shows, most of the shows, right, are in spring, summer, that kind of thing. Outdoor show, I like being on the back at the lawn for specific shows. I think it works for like a show like The Killers, where it's kind of about this big production and kind of everyone dancing and singing. You kind of feel a part of the crowd. It works well for that kind of atmosphere where you don't necessarily need to like see the whole band's facial expressions or something like that. Granted, if it's like an artist that you really, really love, sometimes being at the back can like take
Well,
you
you're gonna
out
be on
of
the
it.
floor for Coldplay, aren't you?
Yeah, of course.
Are you?
Yeah,
And that's like
yeah.
like his like who he's been waiting to see.
100%. Yeah, I
Sounds
wouldn't
like
want to be in
See,
the
whereas
stands
I'm
for
like
that
the
one.
last row for Coldplay, but I'm gonna see all the pretty lights from above. So that's like my perspective.
You
for-
FaceTime each other and like
yeah, from our different, it'll be like
perspectives.
be two POVs, like when those
Yeah.
girlies like post like their two POVs. Of their
Yeah,
day. Like, we'll do
yeah.
that from Coldplay. So we're getting ahead to like shows that are coming up this year. So obviously you must have tickets to see Kendrick like when he comes to Toronto. Yes.
Yeah, I'm paying his bills for the next little
I was
while.
gonna say, but also like that's a bigger conversation about like. So you said you went to 40 shows. I know it's like obviously like I'm in the same boat. I don't know how many. I probably went to like at least 25 shows last year, and we're in an industry where we get to like be gifted tickets and stuff, which is like such a privilege. And because I don't know how.
I'm not
Otherwise,
gifted
how
any
you-
tickets, and it is
expensive.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
crazy. Like it's and it's
terrible.
crazy that like I feel like the standard used to be like $50 for a concert ticket. Like you could always get in the door for $50, and now the standard is like you can't get in the door anywhere for less than $200.
Yeah.
Even like the top rows.
Okay, well, this is the
of
thing. I
Scotiabank.
have a bone to pick here. I'm a big fan of Role Model. Role Model, one of his songs in the what do you call it? Expanded album? What is that called? Deluxe.
Deluxe
His
album?
deluxe album that just came out. Went viral on TikTok. Now his tickets are super, super expensive. He's touring and opening for Gracie Abrams at Budweiser Stage this summer, but he also has a show in a week.
At History,
At
yeah.
History, just his own show. He's one of my favorite artists. So I got tickets to him like months and months and months ago, like the day it opened, the sales open. I looked on StubHub for like the resale value for the floor at History. The cheapest ticket right now is $350.
It's
And the
absurd.
tickets cost $40.
You caught
new.
those for $40?
Yeah, I paid $80 for a pair of tickets. And now if you want to get a pair of tickets to go to Role Model, it's going to cost you like $700. Now, and then the other thing is like if you're going to go to Gracie Abrams, I didn't know that when that sale was happening, didn't pay attention to. Excuse me, didn't pay attention to it. $1,300 now for
To go to Gracie Abrams?
lawn tickets.
I watched her open for Taylor Swift in Pittsburgh, and there was like 12 people in that audience. Like nobody was.
If you look at
nobody
the
was
resale
watching.
prices, it's crazy. So like if you're not on it and get like
Yeah.
blessed by Ticketmaster these days, I feel like you're done.
Yeah, no, I have prided myself in making sure that I know when tickets are going sale, because if you're not in that pre-sale, you are paying rent prices.
Yeah, for
Oh,
real.
no, for real.
It's like it's so anxiety inducing just waiting for that queue to pass and then seeing that big number of people that's ahead of you is like the scariest thing ever.
Do we
Like,
think it's just a Toronto problem though? Like, do we think it's like because Toronto, one, I'd say like is a huge like music and art city. So like people really, they listen to so many different artists. Like even the fact like the 3 artists you just named as like your favorite shows of the year. Like I think traditionally like in years past, you might think like someone who's a Kendrick fan wouldn't also go to a Sabrina Carpenter concert, but that's not like music's so fluid now. So
Yeah,
I
that's
feel
a
like the
good
difference
point.
is like people are going to different types of shows and everyone wants to go to all the shows. But so Toronto like itself is just like such a music heavy city that people, it just costs so much money. And also we're feeding to like all the other like small towns, the whole GTA, whole
cities
whatever.
around there. Yeah,
even the
it's gonna be like-
whole of Canada. Some
That's
artists
true.
only
True.
go to Toronto. You're
Yeah.
lucky if you get Montreal, and you're even lucky if you get Vancouver.
yeah,
Yeah.
So
true.
they're all gonna come to Toronto, and that just drives the price. What even people in Buffalo.
That's
are
true.
Yeah,
gonna
right,
come
cross
here.
border.
That's
Yeah.
true,
I
because-
feel like that's gonna
yeah.
be worse with our dollar compared to theirs is so low. It's like an American. It's 50%
Well,
off
okay,
if you're
so-
coming to see a concert.
when I was on the I had gotten in the queue. It was like a blessing when I was on the floor for Taylor Swift in Toronto. Every single person I met was American. Every single one.
Right.
Because the dollar's so cheap that for them, even paying a resale $2,000 ticket to them becomes like $1,100 or $1,200, and it's suddenly not as bad. Like if you're paying that like dollar price, but I just feel like Toronto specifically is like so expensive for like concerts, sports, anything. It's like I don't know why it's like so much worse than everywhere else.
Speaking of, we kind of did 2024 looking back at your top 3 shows. Now looking toward this year, do you have any say? You have not necessarily tickets that you already have, but speaking about pre-sale codes and being prepared for the schedule of when things are going on sale, do you have any on your list of like I have to get tickets to this year?
Well, my Ticketmaster is already full.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
I love
My
that.
love it.
Ticketmaster has a lot of shows. Like The Weeknd is coming here for
yeah.
4 stops. I have tickets for all 4 stops.
Oh wow!
The Weeknd is again, one of my favorite artists. So I will be going
and
to
it's
all four
Rogers
of
Center.
those
I feel like it's going to be such like
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's going to be like an insane show.
Yeah, I saw him there in 2022 and it was amazing. So I was like, I have to go back. So I have 4 shows of the weekend. Kendrick, I'm going to both Toronto shows and all 3 LA shows and a Detroit show for now. We'll see if it extends past that.
You're speaking my language because I'm somebody that like always, if it's one of my favorite artists, I'll always go to both nights. It's how I've been since I was 14 years old going to concerts. If I could afford it, I was always going to go to both nights. I did it with Justin Bieber growing up. I did it with Taylor Swift, whatever. What's your take then on people going to multiple shows? Like, because some people get really mad at people for going to multiple shows.
I get so angry when people try to blame people for not being able to get tickets, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like, one of my other good friends went to like 8 shows of Billie Eilish and his comments were just full of, you're the reasons why I couldn't get tickets. Why do you need to go so many times? But it's just like, do you really need to be angry at someone for going and seeing live music? Like, it's such a privilege to be able to go and afford and see live music. And I understand it might be difficult for some people because obviously ticket prices are really expensive and not everyone can afford to go. They can't miss work and they can't afford it, whatever it is. But when I see people going to multiple shows, I'm so happy for them because like I love going to concerts. It's like the best place to be. Like, being in a room of people who also love this artist as much as me is such an honor. And I would never blame someone else going multiple times is the reason that I can't go. Like, I would never, ever, ever do that to somebody.
It just feels like it's like yelling at the wrong, like, it's like if you were walking to a grocery store and you yell at the manager of the grocery store for the price of groceries, that's not the person that you should be yelling at. It's like the government that is like setting things, or like the higher corporations setting things in place. Like, it's the flaws in the systems that is ticketing services. It is also scalpers and the relationships that these ticketing services have had with scalpers forever. Like,
exactly.
It's like, they're always like channeling the anger at the wrong
like,
people.
why don't you go on Ticketmaster and find the person who's selling this ticket they originally bought for $40 for $1,000? Those are the people that you should be angry at because those are the people who are not actually fans. They're just looking to make some money.
And I feel like there's an argument to be said of like, sometimes it's difficult to like track down the correct pre-sale code or like be on the mailing list to get it. Like, I feel like it does control a little bit to actually get real fans a lot of the time in there. Yes, it's going to be maybe more expensive and it's tough to get tickets, but like the people who end up being in the stadiums are pretty good fans, I would say.
Yeah. There's verified like fan pre-sales, which is great, but anyone can sign up for those still. Like, there's always a way for a scammer to get in, and I feel like that's where we need to target our anger, because there was a period of time where Ticketmaster would show you, if you added a resale ticket to your cart, it would actually show you the face value at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
And it was a very humbling experience.
Yeah,
like, I was like, there is no way you're trying to make this much money. Like, sure, if you want to make an extra $50, whatever, but thousands of dollars.
Yeah, thousands is crazy. Actually, I'm going to see Oasis in at Wembley in London, but the rules in the UK, because they're so strict about like resale and everything, and I don't know if it's the same here for the Oasis shows, but so we were able to get a bunch of tickets for all of our friends, and we actually have to sell to them. Either we're gonna try to sell them to people we know, or the other 2 tickets we can just sell them back to Ticketmaster, but it will not let you like resell them. You just have to sell them back at the face value to Ticketmaster, and then they get sent out to somebody else that's on the wait list. Which I'm like, that's such a healthy way to do, because then, like, role model as an example, like, you would never be able to like start price gouging. If someone can't go anymore and you sell it back, then that person knows they're getting their money back, which is great. And then there's not people like flipping and making a whole business off of.
Billie Eilish did that too for her show. Like, it was, if you wanted to get rid of the tickets, you would just have to price them at face value. And I think every artist should be doing that, because 100%. Now you're opening the doors for more fans to come to your show, instead of, I don't even know what happens when these resale tickets don't sell. Like, what happens?
I know. It's sometimes empty seats. Sometimes like what's crazy to me is that sometimes a scalper like will just hold on to the ticket and will like let it just like die in their account. Like, they'd rather to keep the prices high. They would rather just like not sell it to anybody than to let the price drop, thinking that maybe the next night, if there's 2 nights of a show, as an example, then the next night people think they're going to drop more, which is just like a messed up system. And like, you just shouldn't be allowed to resell for anything maybe more than like max a 20% profit. And there's like rules in Europe and stuff about that, but it's just, North America's all about fucking capitalism. So it just cares about who can make the most money.
Do you have switching gears from like big stadium shows? Do you have any festivals lined up this year?
Oh yeah, festivals are where I thrive. Osheaga. This will be my 3rd year going.
Nice.
It's like my favorite festival that happens in Canada because Toronto doesn't really have like a big music
I wish
festival.
we did. I feel like
they tried Rolling Loud in 2022. It did not go well.
But again, that's not Toronto. That's Barrie. Like it's so far away. Like it's so far. If I could go on a 2-lane highway, it's too far. That's my rule.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, I love Osheaga. I went to Bonnaroo last year. Which was like,
how was that? I've always wanted to go.
It was like one of the coolest experiences I've ever had in my life. Is it
a camping one?
It is camping. And it's really hot in Tennessee.
Ooh,
it's like 30 degrees. You're sleeping like outside or in your car. But it's also really fun because it feels like a summer camp in a way because there's stuff going on at like 4 a.m.
I did Coachella once back in the day. And
it
was the same. Yeah.
I did not know this about you.
2013, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was, I loved that part of it because it was like you're leaving the show at the end of the night, but you don't have to like worry about, let me get an Uber or how are we getting back to the hotel or something like that. You just walked for, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you're back at your campsite. There are like people all over and just hanging out with your friends still. It was so fun.
I love that. Is there a festival you haven't been to that you really want to go to?
I've never been to Lollapalooza and I'd love to go, but the one that happens, I think it's in Chicago.
Yeah.
It's the same weekend as Osheaga every year.
I know. Yeah. It's so silly.
I'm like, can we just like spread them out so I can go to both? But like Osheaga always gives me tickets and Lollapalooza doesn't. So
yes,
like,
you're like,
Lollapalooza, if you're watching.
Yeah.
Let's get some tickets.
Let's get some tickets.
Don't they do one in like Brazil as well? Lollapalooza.
Yeah, they do.
There's a South American one for sure.
That's
there are a few, eh?
Oh, there's one in Germany too.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would love to go. I forget what it's called. In Barcelona, it's like on the beach. Primavera Sound. I think.
I've never heard of it.
It's always been a bucket list.
I want to go to. Oh my God, Glastonbury.
Oh yeah.
I want, but my issue is I don't want Glastonbury because it's England, so it's rainy and wet and stuff. I don't want to like do like the normal people camping. Like I'm only going to Glastonbury if I'm in like what Paul Mescal's in, like the rich person camping.
I'd be the opposite. I'm like, let me get some rain boots and like trudge around in the mud.
Give me the I registered for Glastonbury's an intense process. I registered to maybe buy tickets when we thought Oasis were going to do like festivals instead of concerts, and I registered that you have to like send like a passport photo, you have to like get all this stuff submitted to make sure you're a real person because they don't allow resell of passes. So it was like you had to get vetted before you can even consider trying to buy tickets. It was really
and the security's so intense. I've watched so many videos of like people trying to sneak into Glastonbury. It's actually like the YouTube vlogs on that are pretty entertaining.
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
Szeged, is that what it's called? In Hungary, in Budapest, is also it's a week-long festival. And like Shawn Mendes is headlining this year. Sabrina Carpenter's like there's all these like massive artists that go. It's a week long. The weekends are like the really big, like when it's busy, but they have concerts every single night. And like Hungary is like a really inexpensive country to visit. So like the festival itself is really cheap. So when you buy festival tickets, like a couple $100 and you get access for the entire week. So I think that'd be a really cool one to go to too.
I mean, if you're going to LA for concerts several times this year, am I right? There's nothing like being on a plane, be like, I'm going to a show tonight. But you're flying, you land, and you're like, that's so fun.
No, I love traveling for concerts, but there's also this anxiety around it because, like, what if it gets canceled?
Has that happened to you? Right,
yeah.
Luckily, no. I haven't been to that many outside of the country. Luckily, the one that I was going to go to, I was actually supposed to see The Weeknd in LA in January, but because of the fires, everything got pushed. I was also supposed to see Schoolboy Q. So The Weeknd didn't end up rescheduling his, but Schoolboy Q rescheduled his for the same week that I'm gonna be in LA for Kendrick.
Amazing.
So
meant to
it
be.
all worked out.
Ideal.
Lucky girl syndrome.
I was so happy.
I'm
like, I've never seen Schoolboy Q. I want to see him, and I was like, you know what? If I have to make another LA trip for this, fine. But the fact that it's already in the week I'll be there, I was like.
Okay, I have a question because I'm debating doing this. I've done this in the past, but I'm debating doing this for a show in May. Have you ever gone to a show alone?
Majority of the shows I go to.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I've gone to like a handful of shows alone as well.
I love that.
I want to say 80% of the shows I
really
go to are solo.
okay.
Even festivals.
Is that like an intentional thing where you just want to go and experience it yourself?
Yes and no. I'm a very independent person. Like if I want to do something, I kind of want to have complete control over it. Like I want to decide when I'm going, when I'm leaving, how long I'm staying, like regardless of whatever I'm doing. But I also just don't have a lot of friends who are down to do what I want to do, especially with how much concert tickets costs. Again, like a lot of them just aren't in positions to be able to afford them. Like for us, like we get a lot of gifted tickets, so that's how it works. But also like majority of my income will just go to concerts. But I love going by myself because I can stand as close as I want. I can stay in the back if I want to. I just have complete control.
I like it. We were just talking about this off mic too, but I feel like it's worth bringing back up because it's like, okay, how do you define, or like, what is your ideal concert buddy? Because for me, like I was just saying, it's pretty easy to get on like Jacob's no-fly list of concert buddies. If you're
no show list.
Yeah, if you're someone who's like, let's get out of here before the encore, like lights are still down and they're walking out the door. I'm like, no thanks.
I'm not taking anything in sports, in anything. Like I think like if you are, especially if you paid money to be at a show, but if you like are there, I hate the idea of like people leaving to beat traffic.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm like,
I'm gonna say it's borderline disrespectful.
I agree.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm not leaving until like the venue starts playing their music again. That's when I know it's time to leave.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Exactly.
we are staying put.
I love
So
that.
do you find, like, as you said, you've even done solo for festivals then. So do you like just meet a lot of friends? Because obviously like you all are at the same show, so you are like-minded in like
or
that
are
sense.
you just so
like
in the
solely
zone
by
you're
yourself?
like, I want to experience this?
I'm the middle, what's it called? An ambivert, I guess, when it comes to these things. Like I don't really go out of my way and just start saying hi to people, but like if I see someone wearing like a really nice merch shirt, I'll be like, oh, that's sick. But for the most part, I'm just kind of there. I know what sets I want to go to. I know I want to be there as soon as the gates open. I know I want to be one of the last ones to leave. Like I have my plan, so I'm totally okay with not meeting anybody. And if I meet somebody, then cool.
I love that.
Like that's that.
Do you have advice then for somebody that's maybe listening that like wants to go to which, because like I mean,
feel like a lot of people want
because
to
I
do
feel
this,
like lots of people want to go to shows alone. It's like, or like go to the movies alone. I love going to the movie theater alone. I think it's the best. You don't talk anyway, so what's the point?
Yes.
So what would your advice then be to somebody that like maybe wants to, like, there's a concert coming up this year, maybe they want to go see Kendrick, none of their friends listen to Kendrick, but they want to go and spend the money to go to the show. What's your advice for them to get over that hump and that fear of going to a show by themselves?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think you kind of have to look and be like, okay, why do I want someone to go with me? Is there a specific reason why I feel like this will be a better experience by myself? Because for me, like, as you said, like when I go to a concert or a movie or whatever it is, I'm not sitting there and talking. I'm zoned in, like I'm locked in on whoever's performing, and that's that. And we kind of just talk about whatever's happening before the show starts and after the show starts. So maybe, I don't know, like you're afraid to take the transit, maybe. I don't know, like trying to figure out what that hurdle is and kind of attack that, because I think there are so many opportunities to experience cool things, and if you are constantly waiting around for someone to do it for you, you're gonna miss so much. Especially for me, who doesn't have a lot of friends who have similar interests as me. If I just decided, hey, like I'm just not gonna do this until someone else goes with me, like I would have not experienced all the really cool things, like some of the best days of my life, if I just waited and sit back. So you just gotta think about it and be like, you know what, I'm gonna regret this if I don't go do it. And I can't just sit in this mindset of like, I need somebody to go with me. And I know that pressure. Like it feels more comfortable to go with someone because you have that other person with you. But like once you get over that hurdle, like you will love going to things by yourself.
I love that. Mic drop. That's such good advice.
Yeah, for real.
Wait, show are you trying to go to by yourself in May?
Yeah.
Youth Lagoon.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
So we have an opening segment where it's like we go like, what are we eating? What are we, and then what are we listening to? And I swear, like this guy should work at A&R. Every week he comes on, and it's some like random remote artist that like tiny. He has like 200 monthly listeners. Jacob's one of them. I never heard of them. 100%, and start charging people because he just knows like every tiny little artist.
He's playing at Axis Club, which used to be Mod Club.
Yes.
Which is like a small enough venue as well that I feel like it would even be better for that type of artist. I think
I
where
feel
it
like
can
you
be
can
a
go
little
stand
bit
by
more.
the bar at Axis too. You can just like
Yeah. Oh
lean on the bar
yeah.
and watch it.
Yeah. That was actually
there.
that was the first venue I went to when I went to a show alone.
Oh
Now that I
really?
think about it, yeah.
I think Bud Stage was my first show. Well, I used to go to shows alone when I was like in high school and like on fangirl Twitter, but I knew other girls were going to be there that I was friends with. So it was a little bit different. But I think Bud Stage was technically my most recent show that I went to. Cause like I want to see Halsey. I love Halsey and no one I knew listened to her. So it was like, I lived down the street. So I bought a ticket and then you could buy like a really good ticket. Yeah. Like you can like pony up and pay more money for it. And then I just stood there and I made friends with like these like old women that were beside me who had gotten gifted tickets the night before from the drummer.
There was, now that I think about it, Haley's gonna listen to this, my girlfriend Haley, and it's like sometimes, yeah, you're totally right. Sometimes you just, the people that are not gonna maybe enjoy the show as much as you, or like be like on the same wavelength of which artist you want to go and see. I took Haley, or I had tickets to this show, and I probably should have just bought one, but she came along with me to Hobo Johnson. You're probably not gonna know Hobo Johnson either, Sarah.
She doesn't either.
He's kind of like a rapper, but like a little spoken word artist as well. I really connect with his music. I like his music. The younger Jonas brother opened. What's his name? Frankie Jonas opened for the show.
He makes music?
What? Yeah, he's a musician.
This is news to me.
It's actually crazy. And I didn't know that he was opening, but we go to the show and he was dressed in like this rat costume. And it was one of the most chaotic things I've ever seen.
Are you sure this was a show and not a dream?
Yeah, that's
it sounds like it. It sounds like it, but it was crazy. And then like the headliner's not crazy, but just like a little out there if you've never heard his music. By the end of the night, I swear, Haley was just like, she was a good sport about it. She wasn't saying let's go, but when we were going home, she's like, that
was an experience.
I don't know. I like totally shell shocked her, so I probably should have gotten a loan to that.
I can't have that. Like if you're not screaming every single word, and then I ask you how is it after, and you're like, I might have to cut you off. Like, don't disrespect my artist.
I feel like there's also like a stress when you're with friends and you bring them to a show, and like if they don't react the same way that you are, like I'm a big scream every lyric person, and like if they're beside me and they're just like standing there, then I start feeling like pressure, being like, are they having fun?
It's so embarrassing. It's like when you show someone, you see a meme and it's so funny, or a TikTok or something, and you want to share it with someone, you send it to them and you don't get an immediate huge laugh. I'm like, oh, do you like you hate me or something?
I know. So you're not just super into music, you also are a little movie buff. Cinephile. It was called a cinephile. Cinephile. Yeah, she told us before the show that you've been on Letterboxd since like 2019. That's cinephile status if I've ever heard it. So as if we are Letterboxd, we're gonna ask you, what are your 4 favorite films?
I've been preparing for this moment forever. Letterboxd.
I love that.
If you're listening, please let me be on your page. It's funny because they actually reposted one of my videos the other day, and I was really happy. So I'm like, yay!
One step closer.
Okay. My favorite movie of all time is WALL-E.
Whoa, nice.
That's a good pick. That's a good take.
I literally have a WALL-E tattoo.
Oh, I love
that. Oh, yeah.
That's a good take.
I feel like people don't appreciate that movie enough because there's very little dialogue. So it's very hard to stay focused if it's not like super action based, but I'm just in awe with the story, with the visuals, everything about that movie I love. And every time I talk about it with someone, they'll be like, oh, I watched it as a kid, but I barely remember. I'm like, you need to watch it as an adult because that's when it's going to hit. So that is my favorite movie of all time. My next 3, there's this movie called Queen and Slim. It's very low key. Not a lot of people know about it, but it came out in 2019. And the plot, like, I'm not going to reveal too much about it, but it's basically about this couple who goes on this first date, and on the way home they kind of like swerve and get like the police's attention accidentally, and then it just turns into this whole night of like running from the police, and it's so like edge of your seat, like you just want to know what happens next the entire time. And I love those types of movies. Like if you can keep me entertained the whole way through, absolutely love it. Another animated movie, I'm gonna go with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, such a good pick.
So good.
It's my favorite Spider-Man.
Yes, like if you don't love this movie, that is a red flag to me, because like
that's a good take too. Yeah, that's a good like little test.
Yeah, like anytime I add someone on Letterboxd, I need to see if they've seen that movie. Go
check out the
and
review
what
of
they've
it.
rated it, because that movie just means so much to me. I went into it with 0 expectations. I had no idea, and the whole time I was just like, wow, this is beautiful. Like this is cinema. So absolutely love that movie. Last place, I love Marvel movies, so I'll give that disclaimer, but I love Captain America Civil War.
That's the best one.
Thank you.
I love
Thank
Civil
you.
War. I'm also a big Captain America girl. That was my favorite of like the franchises within the franchise. I used to be a big Marvel girl, but it's gotten too big for me now.
It's expanded. It's expanded, but
Civil War's so good.
The story behind it and like having a villain that's not violent but kind of just like takes them down mentally. Like I'm so obsessed with that concept. It's like my friends look at me weird for this because I've said it's like my comfort movie and they're like, what are you talking about? Like there's people trying to kill other people. This is your comfort movie? But I'm like, yes, it is.
Are you like a yearly watch then?
Yeah, I rewatch those movies quite a bit. And I literally got into a conversation with someone because they're just like, why would you rewatch a movie?
What?
And I was like,
That's
why
a
would
bad
you
take.
re-listen to a song?
That's a
For
bad
real,
take.
yeah.
I know. They're just like, that's weird. Like if you've already know what happens, then who cares? And I'm like, yeah, but when you rewatch a movie, you get to see things you may have missed the first
It's
time.
also like such a different experience. Also contextually, like where you watch it. Like watching a movie on a plane is a very different experience than watching it in a theater versus like there's so many different.
That is such a strange.
That's
Speaking
a
of red
weird,
flags, that's a weird
big
take.
red flag.
It's okay. They're
Like-
just the coworkers.
Like I was gonna say, that's crazy to think that somebody watches a movie once and goes, "Great, I loved that so much, 5 stars." Never gonna watch it again.
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
it.
Like Parasite, the first time I watched that movie was on my laptop at home. And I was like, yeah, it was good. And my friend was like, no, you need to watch it in a theater. I'm like, all right. And then we go watch it in a theater, completely changed my mind. Like,
Okay, I
loved
haven't
it.
seen it in a theater. I need them to re-release it because I love.
If you're
that
going to
movie
watch
as
a
well, but
movie, like, and if you can, the theater is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will always try to watch a movie. And I'm saying that as someone who works at a theater, so I can just kind of watch whatever I want, whenever I want for free. But like, I love being in a theater, especially a packed theater, seeing everybody else's reactions.
Yeah.
So good.
I also feel like the theater experience, it's like just it's so important to then not be distracted and experience a
Yes.
film like how it's supposed to be consumed. Like
Yeah.
the ones that are supposed to be like made in theaters. I mean, like there's those streaming movies and stuff that like we know are like made for streaming or whatever, but yeah, like you need to watch, like there's so many things that you need to watch. There's so many things I wish that I could see in theaters again for the first time that I haven't, or that I watched years ago in theater. It's like not the same.
Like what?
If I could watch Little Women again in theater
Oh,
for
yeah,
the
of
first
course,
time,
yeah.
the first time I experienced Little Women 2019 by Greta Gerwig in theater, I just like was like that was the movie that was like, I want to make a movie. I was like, oh, I understand cinema now.
Yes.
True.
And then
Yes.
I rewatch it on I've watched it on a phone, I've watched it on a plane, I've watched it everywhere, but I want to watch it at theater.
That's
again.
why I also love working in a theater, because after hours, me and my coworkers will just like hook up our laptop and just watch something after hours.
Oh, that is
that's
sick.
maybe the
Are you
coolest
all
perk.
hiring? I just joined so I can watch Little Women on the theater.
That
and
is
then I,
such a
I've
good
been able
perk.
to watch so many movies I never got to see in theaters, things that never got released in theaters, like Turning Red, the Pixar movie, never got released
yeah, it
in
didn't
theaters
get a
because of the
theater.
pandemic. I got to watch it in a theater, and it was so good.
oh,
That's why I can
my
never quit. Like I
God.
have soul ties to the theater, because if I
I
quit,
love
I
that.
can't do it anymore.
Oh my God, I love that. Is there a movie that you're really excited for that's coming out this year?
Ooh, okay, yes. Every year I make a top 10 anticipated list, but the top movie right there is going to be the Michael Jackson biopic.
Oh, I forgot that's coming out this year.
Yes, it's coming out
that's
late
gonna
this
be
year,
good.
and I'm very excited because my parents raised me on Michael Jackson's music. He is, aside from Kendrick Lamar, my favorite artist of all time. I also have a tattoo like dedicated to him on my ankle, and I've been waiting for this story to me because I also just love watching musical biopics. I love learning about an artist's history, like what got them to where they were, and Michael Jackson just means so much to me. So praying they do it right, praying that they invite me to the premiere, because there is nobody on this earth that is a bigger fan of
We're
Michael
manifesting
Jackson
it
than I
now.
am.
Starting early. We're starting the campaigning early for you.
Yes,
We'll
we are.
start
I had
now.
the Michael Jackson Just Dance. I have the tattoo. I have posters.
I had the Michael
Yeah,
Jackson Just Dance.
Your resume, your
love
resume is stacked. Though.
Yes.
We're manifesting. We're
Yes.
manifesting.
Give us one more that's on that
On
top
that
10
top 10.
anticipation
Ooh,
list.
yes. Okay.
Is there any good?
Sinners.
Sinners.
Movie directed by Ryan Coogler, who did the Creed movies.
Yeah,
Black
yeah.
Panther. I've never seen a movie by him that I hated. Every single
that's-
one. And it stars Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, well,
yeah.
I'm sold.
Exactly, right? Those two things alone. And I am very excited because I love them too. Like anytime those two come together, it's magic. So I am very, very excited for that too.
We get Wicked Part 2 this year too,
We do.
which is like crazy. I love that they're just
Really?
doing it back to back. They could have put years in between. They went, John M. Chu went, nope, you get them 1 year apart. So we're already getting that movie.
And
this
best
year
believe
too.
I'll rewatch the first one.
100%.
Rewatch and then watch the second one.
100%.
They should be doing back-to-back screenings. Maybe they will.
They probably will.
I think
yeah.
they will.
Oh, that'd be so fun.
That would be a missed opportunity for them not to.
Oh, that'd be like what, 6 hours, like 5.5 hours.
Yeah, but you can take a break in between. It'd be fine. I hope this first podcast experience was good for you. We could chat music movies with you all day, so we'll definitely have to bring you back, especially after you go to the premiere of the Michael Jackson biopic.
Yes.
Plug yourself. Tell everyone where they can find you and your unpopular opinions.
Yes. Well, my name is Myah Elliott, but I go as Yom Rants, which is a whole other story. It's like my nickname originated in high school, whatever. Yom Rants on TikTok, Myah Elliott on Instagram and Letterboxd. I love following people on Letterboxd, so please follow me there.
But make sure you have a good rating of Spider-Man Into the
Yeah,
Spider-Verse.
yeah,
Not getting that ad back.
A block. But yeah, if you like talking about music, movies, honestly, even unpopular food opinions, like whatever you got, shoot them my way because I love having debates and I love having conversations about opinions.
I love that. And we've loved having this conversation with you. Thank you so much for coming on Talking Fast. And if you love this conversation, make you like, comment, subscribe, whether you're watching on YouTube, you're listening in your ears. That was weird. On Spotify, Apple, wherever you find your favorite podcast, give us 5 stars. I'm Sarah. That's Jacob. That's Myah. We'll see you next week. Bye.